Good morning and welcome back to the channel. We are on 17,976. Can we get to that 18,000 before Adam Idah is officially announced as a Celtic player? I've just watched the headlines coming through. Wow. I'm just watching the headlines that that Gallagher might have to return to Chelsea. Conor Gallagher, and the reason I'm looking at that update is because it's been suggested that Chelsea might come in for the one and only Matt O'Reilly if this deal went through. Yeah, so the only reason I'm looking at that, turn this down, feedback. Yeah, the only reason I'm looking at that is it has been suggested that Chelsea might come in for Conor Gallagher, might come in for Matt O'Reilly if this deal goes through. Now, Gallagher, it's been suggested, may have to return as there's been a stall in the deal, according to Sky News just now, which means that they won't come in for Matt O'Reilly. There hasn't been a fifth bid. Some of the media are going on this morning saying that there'd been a fifth bid for Matt O'Reilly. There hasn't from Atlanta. There was only that fourth bid at the weekend. So let's jump into the comment section before we get into the video and see who is online. After the fantastic live last night. I think I'm going to keep doing the lives at that time at night. Richard Smith was first in this morning. Good morning, and hope you all have a tremendous Tuesday. Zed Head, morning, Baz. Finding it quite sad that some fans are saying that Adam Idah isn't worth when we've chased him for so long. We paid exactly what it took to get him, not a penny more. Exactly. I mean, my question was because you could see that the fans online, and that's the only reason I asked the question last night. I think it's fantastic that we've finally got him through the door. He's not through the door yet. He's travelling up to Scotland today to do his medical. He's probably in Scotland by now. He will do his medical, and then he will do the pictures and the strip and all the rest of it, and probably unveil tomorrow. You know what Celtic are like. It takes them a good 24 to 48 hours to get this kind of stuff done and dusted. For me, I mean, I was wanting Adam Idah all day long. He won the Scottish Cup for us. He helped us win the league. You know, he had important games against Kilmarnock in the league last season. And let's not forget the fact that he scored the goal. Him and Paulo Bernardo were the two players that we wanted in. Now we are not stronger than we were last season. We still have some improvement to make. But when it comes to Adam Idah, look, as far as I'm concerned, they played a complete blinder. They played a blinder. They knew the situation where they seen as soon as they seen Kyogo coming off injured at the weekend, they knew they could play hardball with Celtic, and Celtic and Brendan Rodgers would have said, "Get this frigging deal done now." I've told you about it, and you can imagine what Brendan Rodgers said after the game at the weekend to the board. He would have went right up and said to them, "Look, I told you this could happen. There's Kyogo, come off with his shoulder again. Get the Adam Idah deal done. I don't care what it costs. Get it done. We want him. He's our number one choice. Get him in. We should have had him in earlier, is what I'm saying. But it was interesting to do the poll last night. And it was interesting to see that the Daily Record run with the headline Celtic News Bulletin as overpaid Adam Idah transfer splits fans and pundit. As O'Shea hits the headlines, the Hoops finally signed Adam Idah from Norwich, who will play a starring role for the club. And Darren O'Shea sources in Burnley, and they're talking about that also. Chris Sutton took to his social media and gave his verdict when the news broke on X, said, "Good move for all, for Celtic, for Adam, and for Norwich City." So Chris Sutton thinks it's a good deal. Joe, but it's the player that we wanted. The money is some people think we paid too much. I mean, I think people are aggrieved by the fact that we could have got him for around about 3 million if we had got the actual deal done and dusted the last transfer window, but it's in the past. We've got him. He's coming up. It's all done and dusted, right? Even let's get back into the comments section. Richard Smith said, "Zedhead, I agree. Scores between 25 and 30 goals in the next 2 seasons. and that would be his value. I think Richard, I think you're way off the mark saying 25 to 30 goals over the next 2 seasons. Idah will score 20 goals plus this season. I did say that last season, I'm repeating myself here, but I did say when he came in, this guy will score 10 goals for us. He scored 9. He scored 9. He was unlucky not to get to that 10. He will score 20 goals plus this season for Celtic. Mark my words with that. That's cool. Let's be honest, Kyogo is not a good striker. He's only scored 19 goals last season. The chances he created isn't good enough, says Richard. I think Kyogo wasn't at his best last season. I think he struggled to play the way that the new manager wanted him to play. And I think that he's finally gotten over that. I think that Kyogo is going to hit the ground running this year. My big worry is that people will target Kyogo off the ball again this season. We all know that he's got that dodgy shoulder. Defenders will target him off the ball. They'll give him that little nudge. So that's we need Idah in to get the transfer window so far in the Premier League. Jota Silva. It's just fucked off. People saying that there's not a lot of transfer deals going on around the money that we can afford, but there actually is down south, and there is in Europe also. Anyway, Tamak's in the house, Paul is in the house, even Larson needed a Sutton from time to time. Let's see if the two can be selected together and become lethal up front with 40 plus partnership. That would be fantastic, and everyone knows my thoughts on it. I think that Celtic should be playing a 3-5-2. Do we have the players for Brendan Rodgers to change it to a 3-5-2? For me, it would mean my preferred three would be Cameron Carter-Vickers, Alistair Johnston, and A.N. Other. I don't think that. Well, could Scales play in a back three? He would cover that left quite well. Maybe he could. Maybe Scales would do okay in a back three in that scenario, and playing 3-5-2, and it means that Scales isn't having to run up the park as much. That would be an interesting one. I'd actually love to see that. That would be my preferred back three. Obviously, Scales on the left, Cameron Carter-Vickers in the middle, and our, our amazing Canadian who has just flourished since he came to Celtic, Alistair Johnston. For me, that would be a perfect back three. But tell me your tell me your thoughts in the comment section. Would that be a good back three for you if Celtic were to go down the route and play 3-5-2? I think in Scottish football there is no need for us to play four at the back. I know that the full-backs get forward and stuff like that, but I think playing a three at the back in Scottish football and putting two in the middle up front. But then what do I know? I'm not Brendan Rodgers. He likes his system, but you never know. He might change it for some games. But then again, he might go more defensive in Europe, which we're kind of hoping this season. Zeta says totally 100%. It's a great piece of business. Celtic Mayas are aiming to be a financial powerhouse, and they're well on the way to doing it. Port Job Express says players only worth what clubs are willing to pay for him. I'm glad he's here, but thinking if we had a proper recruitment department, we'd have got them earlier and a lot cheaper. I think that's the main concern for a lot of fans, Port Shops Express. I think that we all know that Norwich would have took a deal worth 3 million at Christmas time, but anyway, it's in the past. The two guys that were in charge of recruitment then are gone. They're done and dusted. They're out Celtic, and Brendan Rodgers is fully in charge. That's one thing that we can take for sure. I think Kyogo will be away as soon as possible before the window shuts. If not, then January as the J League starts. Then, says Boat Chop Express. I don't think so. I think Brendan Rodgers will get the best out of Kyogo this year. I think you'll see a different Kyogo. I think you'll see a Kyogo that will score more goals. I think you'll see Kyogo that gets more assists. And I think that the way that Brendan Rodgers wants to use Kyogo, it should come to fruition this year. I don't think he will be away this year. Got to remember, he only signed a new contract with Celtic at the beginning. Was it last season or the end of the season before? He did sign that new contract. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Right, there's lots and lots and lots of comments coming in. I've missed so many. That's where the frustration lay. Brendan actually done very well deflecting the criticism, says Zed. Big Dom says we played into Norwich's hands by not wrapping up the Idah deal early. Norwich had us over a barrel as we went to the final 2 weeks of the window and Kyogo got injured. How stupid. Big Dom, that is probably the most sensible comment that is out there, and it's the most factual comment. Let's face it, Big Dom. So hats off to you for that. I think it is the case. Um, I'm not overly concerned about the money that we spent, but it was good to ask the question on the video last night. It was good to see that it was interesting to see that with just off 600 votes, 2 votes off of 600 votes, it was interesting to see how many people think we paid too much and how many people says, look, it's spot on from what he done for us the last season and what he can do for us this season. We've got 50 million coming in from the Champions League, so let's not think of that. My big concern is whether we sell Matt O'Reilly at the end of the window, and in that case, Paulo Bernardo's the direct replacement. I think that does leave us weaker. It does leave us weaker than what it was, because if you look at the bench at the weekend, it wasn't a bench that any team, when you're away from home, is going to get overly excited about. You know, they're going to get overly worried about. And you've seen that the way that Hibs played the second half of the game. Carly's in house. Good morning to you, Carly. Duncan MacArthur's in the house. About time we said we would get players in. Sean is in the house. Morning, Baz and all. Scott is in the house. Gerard, morning all from Belfast. 23 subs before Idah revealed. Yep. More than likely. Idah's the new Hun scalper. I think he is. John, the truck driving legend, God from the Republic of Freedom Fairman, is in the house. The sun is shining in Donegal. Big Idah is up the road, says Kieran. A lot of Irishmen will be completely over the moon this morning that the deal is finally done. It's not officially done and dusted yet. We know this. Celtic haven't announced it, and you'll get lots of people out there saying, "I'm not believing a word this can't say until we Celtic announce it." No, it's all over Sky and everything. The deal is done and dusted. So we move on. Right. Sorry if I've missed out some of your comments. Roslyn, good morning to you. Don't get why they have to sell Matt, to be honest. Roslyn, I have no idea either. I think the fact that we don't have to sell Matt O'Reilly. Brendan Rodgers has said, look, Matt O'Reilly does. Brendan Rodgers is playing very, very astute and very clever. Rather than saying we don't want to sell Matt O'Reilly, he's saying Matt O'Reilly doesn't have to leave. But the player then has an offer of wages that Celtic cannot meet. Everyone knows my stance on it. I think that Celtic should go out and offer Matt O'Reilly 45 grand a week this week. This before the end of the transfer window. They should just say to him, look, there's a new contract. We know that he signed a new contract last season, but we want to give you another new contract, 45 grand a week, and we want to put a clause to sell you in 2 years' time for 30 million. And there you go. End of that. Ends all the speculation. It lets the fans know that we're serious about moving forward in the Champions League, and we can afford it. We can afford to put. Listen, when the Jota deal came through, if Celtic did not accept the deal for Jota, there was a clause in Jota's contract that if Celtic did not accept over 20 million plus for Jota, and he stayed at Celtic, he was to be paid £45,000 a week. Now, for me, you do the exact same with Matt O'Reilly. I think that Matt O'Reilly can only get better. A lot of people say that he's not at that level yet, but I think he can only get better. I think he loves being at Celtic. Pay the guy what he's worth. I'm all for paying the players what they're worth, and put down a marker, a statement of intent of what we want to do for the next 2 seasons. It's all about making sure that we win the league over the next 2 seasons. It's all about making sure that we qualify for the Champions League. We need to win in Europe. We need to win at least 3 games in Europe this season to climb back up the coefficient ladder so that we can get back into automatic qualification for the Champions League. As it stands, we're going to have to go back into qualifying at the end of this season. And I think that given Brendan Rodgers that little bit of belief that if he is going to be here he is going to be here this season. He's got one more season after that he's contracted to. If you want to get the best out of that manager, it's put that in place. Have a 2-year plan. What's wrong with having a solid foundation of a 2-year plan and saying we're not selling anybody for 2 years? We're not selling our best players. We'll sell players that are come through the system and that don't work out. Bosun Lawwell, perfect example. He's kind of been in the background of Celtic for a few years after coming up from down south, and it's not worked out. He's not been the player that we kind of expected. Brendan Rodgers has seen that in him. So the player then has a decision. Does he stick around in the background of Celtic? He said, no, I want to go and play football. He wants to go and play first team football. Stoke have put him right. Well, they've put him into the first team, but he's injured. He's got a short term injury, so he can't even start straight away for Stoke. But I'm all for the club turning around and saying, look, we're going to have a 2-year period where we don't have to sell anybody, any of our top players. We're not going to. We want to try and push on to try and achieve something in Europe, not just turn up in Europe and not just, you know, be there to collect the money. We want to try and achieve some good results in Europe with our best players. And then at the end of that 2 year, we can then review it again. A bit like when Ange came into the club and it was all with new beginnings at Celtic. It was going to be a fantastic new dawn, a new dawn on the way that the club was run, a new dawn on the way that the club had done transfers. But we seem to have sneaked backwards this summer slightly. Well, let's see. There's still 2 weeks left of the transfer window. Let's see if we can get in a good defender. Let's see if we can get in this left back from Liverpool, and we'll take it from there. But we still need a third choice striker. You have to remember that also. If Mikey Johnston's going to be the third choice striker, he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Does he even want to stick around as third choice striker? Yeah, Liam Motherwell away was crucial, says Obi Boy. I'm just going to jump through some of the comments. Apologies if I missed out, because there's a lot of comments this morning. I opened it up to anyone that could comment. Gerald Johnson, morning Baz. I don't think Matt will leave to go to a lesser team, Atletico Madrid, than Atletico Madrid. He's a lad with his head on the right way, and he's going to a top 4 in England or another top Euro league, says Gerald Johnston. I think so also. I've said that since the beginning. I don't think that... Would Matt O'Reilly realistically want to go to a club that's going to be mid-table in England? Does he need to? I don't think so. When you had that chance to go to Madrid and Celtic turned it down, Matt O'Reilly's now sitting going, that's my level. When a club like that, and they're not going to come back in for him. Don't think that Atletico Madrid are coming back in this summer for Matt O'Reilly, because they won't. Because they've bought other players this summer that have filled the gap that Matt O'Reilly was going to cover. I don't think that they will even put another offer in. I think they've seen him as an 18 million plus player at the time, and Celtic's valuation. Well, we don't even know what Celtic's valuation was at Christmas. It was certainly more than 20 million. But anyway, I don't think that Matt O'Reilly will go to a mid-table team just for the sake of going for wages. I think that he will turn around and say, nah, even if a 25 million comes in from the likes of Bournemouth or whatever, does Matt O'Reilly really want to do that? I don't think he will, to be perfectly honest. Baz, we need a left back, a centre back, and a striker before the close of the window, says JJB. Portugal Express says gets down left side, regular players target the left side. Yep. He's slow on the ball. His indecision comes talking about the one and only Scales. Net spending, Scales minus purchase about 1.5 million, including wages saved on exits. Total spending is negative amount. Well, we have brought in 4 million for O. We brought in up to 3 million for Bosun Lawwell. How much did we get for Haksabanovic? We've also sold Haksabanovic this window, so there you go. We've made some money in this window, so we're probably sitting around about a net spend of 0, and that's what Celtic always do. Celtic like to end the window, and they have said it before in their financial statements that they like to have a positive in the window, the transfer, when it comes to selling players. Anyway, even if Matt O'Reilly has said he is happy, even if he's happy at Celtic, he will go. The decision is the club where he wants to go. Yes, Anthony Fagan has joined. Welcome to the One Celtic Fans View. In about a week's time, you'll start to see that some of the people that have memberships, their comments will be highlighted. So if you want to get your comments highlighted, join the One Celtic Fans View Celtic Supporters Club, and it will be an official supporters club hopefully in the next couple of days. There are 372 people in here this morning, the biggest I've seen yet. Hit the like button. Tarmac, there was more last night. There's 378. There was over 500 at one point last night. in the video last night did over 2,700 views. So I think I will be doing early morning lives and the live at 8 o'clock. I think we'll carry on doing lives at this time of day and the live at 8 o'clock Celtic Park time, going on to 9, maybe even till a bit later on. It seemed to be there were a lot more people on last night after 9 o'clock. So I might change it to 9 o'clock Celtic Park time. Don't know. We also saved 3 million on Bernardo. We got him for 3.5 million instead of the 6.5 that they wanted. Exactly. 4 million says Lanky. Bosun Lawwell 3 million. Hacksaw 1 million. Kobayashi 1 million. Abata. That's right. Vata, Rocco Vata 300,000. And we've got to remember the £10 million, Lanky, you've got it on a T. The £10 million that we received for Lil Abada in January. That will also be added to the books for this season. Wow. Forgot all about the Abada one. Selling Abada for 10 million was absolutely a fantastic piece of business. But anyway, welcome Anthony. Give me all the channel members, give a big welcome to Anthony. I think that's us on 26 now. 26. To become the biggest club in Europe, we need to be over 120. Just saying. Not that I'm trying to compete, but anyway, we do. So, when it comes to it, Owen Beck is the next one that we are going to be looking at. Owen Beck is the Liverpool player who they want £3 million for. If I am Celtic, he is younger than Greg Taylor. He's Welsh, isn't he, Owen Beck? He's a player that still has a bit of growth in him when it comes to, but he's a fantastic player, and he showed that up in Dundee. We're now on 26 members, so we need to try and get up. I mean, YouTube's over the moon. It come up with a notification telling me how many members we had and saying it was doing fantastic, but we want to do even better. So make sure that you join the membership, and once you've been a member for a month, your comments will be highlighted. Port Job Express says, how much for a Bada? Holy book. I never realised it was so much. That's a good bit of business. Yeah, it was 10 million. I'm sure it was 8 million plus add-ons to the 10 million. You sound angry. Pipe down. Who sounds angry? I'm not angry. I'm over the moon this morning. I'm absolutely over the moon. Big Chewy says, hey Baz, I know some people close to Mikey. They've been told he wants to leave for first team football, also due to some of the negativity from fans. West have wanted him to sign, but Celtic say no. That's interesting. And I thought that would be the case with Mikey Johnston. I did say that would be the case with Mikey Johnston. He's the one that's got the decision to make. Brendan Rodgers, I mean, I got stick last night on the live. People saying that get rid of Mikey Johnston. Brendan Rodgers likes Mikey Johnston as a winger. He likes what he can do as a player. He knows that there's little bits of Mikey Johnston that can be a fantastic player in there. But the negativity from the fans, we always have negativity against our own bred players. You know, Scottish players get it in the neck. Jamesy Forrest got it in the neck many, many times over his career, but James Forrest stuck it. And if you want to be a fantastic player for Celtic, the first thing that you do is you scrap social media. Scrap social media, if you ask me. You don't go on social media. You don't have any official social media accounts. Scott Brown used to take the mick out of Jamesy Forrest and Callum McGregor for not having any social media. But look at the career that they're having. I'm just looking at Celtic. Yeah, it's Celtic got to pay initial fee of 8.5 million with 1 million add-ons. Norwich insert a 15% sell-on clause to the deal. Morning transfer news. And Rangers are selling a player. On loan. Aberdeen sign a winger from Helsinki for 800,000 on a 4-year contract. Topi Kids or whatever. Girona agree a deal with 6 million to sign Bojan Aberdeen from Aberdeen for 6.8 million. That's an interesting one. But anyway, Big Chewy, thanks for that comment. I know some people close to Mikey Johnston and they have been told he wants to leave for first team football. I said that. I did say that. I said it's a big shout. Mikey Johnston did fantastically well last season. Does he want to really sit about and play second choice winger? Not at all. He's at that age where he's been at Celtic enough. He's had the stick. He's Celtic through and through. Let's not forget that. Mikey Johnston's Celtic through and through. I can remember speaking to Paul the Tim about him a couple of years ago, and people were giving Mikey Johnston stick then. And Paul said then, he said, look, he's one of us. Mikey Johnston is one of us. And it's always the same. Anyway, if he goes with our heart. Well, for me, I think Brendan really likes him. That's why Brendan said, look, I don't want you to go. I want you to stay. Is it going to be the case that he's going to be a third choice striker? Does he want to play third choice striker at Celtic? This is the big question of the day. And I think Mikey Johnston's going, look, Gaffer, I just want to play first team football week in, week out without the fucking nonsense. Guys in the stand and guys on social media. And my mates all reading all this pish on social media saying, Mikey Johnston's shite, get him out of the team. Do you know, we never seem to say that about foreign players as much. We don't shout as much about it for foreign players. Anyway, 10 million for Idah. He hasn't been missed at all. Nope. John Milne says, welcome to our latest member, Anthony. Anthony Fagan. Got to ask the question. You related to Michael? Sorry, Anthony, but I had to ask the question. Are you related to Michael Fagan? That was set. There's a laughter. There's probably. Anyway, Big Rab B says, if I was a Scottish player, I wouldn't play for Celtic or Rangers. If I was treating them like crap. That's why other youths are walking away, and can't blame them. Jim says this morning, good morning, Baz, all the way from just in for a wee walk with the pooch. Fucking at last, Adam Idah's on the way. My boss says, best for all parties to let Michael Johnston go, and best of luck to him. Yeah, says, Celtic though, I'm Celtic through and through. Doesn't mean I'd get a game. Yeah, this is true. Stuart Ramsey, good morning to you, Stuart. Uncle Stuart's in the house. Never seen Lorna this morning. She'll probably be busy. Morning, Baz. Good to catch live this morning. Surprised at the money paid for Idah. Glad it's over the line. It takes a wee bit of pressure off Kyogo. Yes, exactly. Aberdeen have more to spend than the new Safeco, says Kieran. Port Job Express says, I like it. The sheep have their dander up this season. The abuse Mikey Johnston gets is awful, says my ball. Yep, I think it is. But listen, it's happened with many Scottish players over the years. So, the fans have got the fans have got a right to voice their concerns, and everyone has a say. This channel is called the One Celtic Fans View. Everyone has their own view, and that's what makes us such a good support. And let's face it, football fans are fickle. They are a fickle bunch. Paul Emery says he's all good. Lanky, Donny, that ain't playing about this year. Maybe second choice Kyogo up for his shoulder. Maybe be second choice Kyogo going for an off. But I don't know about. But I need to speak to somebody that's a fitness freak. Can you have an operation on a shoulder that keeps on getting dislocated? I don't know. I've no idea. Just up, what have you missed? Says Charlie. You've missed the fact that it's not raining, it's sunny. Adam Idah is in the door. A few players are going to be leaving, and not a lot this morning, actually. Paid way over the odd for Idas, says James White. The fans have every right to moan about players who aren't cutting it, says AR. What am I doing awake at this time, Baz? Says John Paul Glasgow. I have no idea. If you're in Glasgow, it's 9:30 in the morning. That's when you should be awake. Anyway, there's only 116 thumbs up on the video. There has been over 1,020 views. You do get a lot more views at night. Yes, you can. It's loose or torn tendons. Well, there you go. There you go, Robert Gibson. Thanks for that. Because I didn't honestly know. I didn't know if there's something wrong, and why is it not being operated? Obviously, it's not being operated on because I don't think that Celtic will chance the operation on it. I remember Brendan Rodgers did saying it's something that will need operated on in the future, but Celtic are never going to chance anything. It's pishing down here. No Idah, no double, says my ball. Exactly. I think that Celtic will not chance any operation before Christmas. You have to look at it that we are in Champions League football now until after Christmas. Celtic will want to make sure that Kyogo is available for that. Sorry, but unless Idah is the top scorer in the SPL this season, I think 9 million for a player that cannot get into Norwich's first team is way too much. Panic buy, says Richard Coleman. Oh, Richard. You'd been right with the fans last night. They were split. 3 million for Lowell was a great piece of business. Never seen the guy live. AR, we've seen him when he was, well, I watched one of the games where he played down for Scott Brown. At that point, he was still playing in defence. He then got moved into in midfield. He played for Celtic during the summer in America in midfield, and I've got to say I wasn't impressed with him at all. Wasn't impressed with him at all in that midfield area. I thought that he should have reverted back into a centre back. I thought the vision that I had for him was him and Cameron Carter-Vickers, maybe in about a year's time. But he just didn't look ready for first team football. We were against a Man City team that didn't have all their stars in it. We played Chelsea, and I just thought that he kind of looked out of sorts a bit. He didn't look, he was ready for that level. But the manager must have thought so also, and he's another player that's decided to leave Celtic due to the fact that he's not going to get first team football. And let's face it, £3 million, 2 million up front, with add-ons up to 1 million, so that's a 3 million deal, is a fantastic piece of business for Celtic. Let's hope Kiev put they out tonight. Oh God, what time are they on tonight? Because that always affects the lives. It's interesting because they're looking at a potential Man United lineup, and Man United have reverted to a 4-3-3 lineup, but there's no starting place for a player that Celtic was linked with. Or did he get sold? I have no idea. I don't know. No idea. Ah, 2045, quarter to nine, quarter to nine. You can still buy tickets. I'm on Google for the Huns game, and you could still buy tickets. Jesus. Google are saying buy tickets. That's a new thing that Google's done. Anyway, that's a shame because hopefully Celtic can make an announcement tonight. Bosun can trap a ball further and I could kick it. Great piece of business, getting 3 million, getting away. Scott says, I hope we bring back Johnny Kenny from Shamrock Rovers and use him as our third striker option. I think Johnny Kenny has been put out on loan for another full season, so we won't see him this season. He has been put out on loan for another full season. Ended up injured during the game, says Big Chewy. Yes, Mikey has been a bit unlucky, sometimes with injuries, made it worse by poor decisions by the club, and forced him on a pre-season friendly despite scheduled for a surgery a few days later. Yep. It's on BBC tonight. That's even worse then. Who does Happy play for? Green Machine says, in the long term, Bernardo will be a great addition to the squad. For me, and this will go, a lot of people will say I'm wrong, but I thought that at the weekend that Rio Hatate should have come off quicker than what he did. And I said at half time, look, the first player that's going to come off, in my eyes, should have been a Hatate for Bernardo. I think that I would like to see Bernardo and Matt O'Reilly together in that midfield. I think that they would destroy teams, absolutely destroy teams. I think that Hatate, again, is not at his best. And does he have one eye on that transfer window like he did last season? Anyway, that tells me there's secret Huns in here. There probably is secret Huns because it's open to all today. It's not just closed to subscribers. So there might be Huns in here today, so don't worry about it. If there is, welcome to the channel. This is what it's like supporting a big team that has a vast history. We'll see a different Bernardo and Kuhn. They'll step up, Lanky says. I totally agree with that, Lanky. I think Bernardo and Kuhn this year, you're going to see a completely different Kuhn than what you did. You've got to remember, Kuhn only came in at Christmas. He only came in at Christmas. He had health issues. He'd lost a stone in weight when he first came to Celtic. He had to regain that stone in weight, and it's easy saying it's easy to put a stone on. Do you know what I mean? But you've got to retain your fitness as well. And I think that this season we'll see a completely different Nico Kuhn. Don't think Atati's heart is in it, unfortunately, anymore. Sinisalo, Bernardo, and Idah should all start at the weekend, give them firing for the Huns game in a few weeks. I think so as well. It is a cup game. That's an interesting one, because normally it would be Scott Bain would start a cup game. Now, is the League Cup, is it the perfect time to bring in Sinisalo? Is it the perfect game to bring in Sinisalo at Hibs again? Playing Hibs again, I think that would be fantastic. Is Adam Idah match fit? I think, he is, because he came on at the weekend. He was a substitute at the weekend for them, so he has to be match fit. Means that he could slip straight back into the team. But who gets dropped for the bench? This is the big question. Who gets dropped from the bench? And one of the disappointment things is the way that the current bench is sitting, is none of the young players from the B team are getting a chance early on in the season, which is a bit of a disappointment. But it's not. When you look at the bigger picture, we need to bring in a bit more strength to the team before we bring in some of the young guys. Anyway, it'll be a great game at the weekend, says Lanky. I think it will be. Did you say Graham Souness comment? Did you see Graham Souness comment? Nope. Hatati makes Celtic tick, says Anthony. He does make us tick, but I think sometimes as well, I think Paulo Bernardo, just look back to the Scottish Cup final. Just look back to the Scottish Cup final, what Paulo Bernardo did. I think they're two different types of players. He does make us tick, but I just think that there's something not right there. Anyway, we hope that it's going to all be working out fine. Don't change the team for the cup game. We're going for a treble. Yeah, we're going for a treble. We are that. Chris Ayers penetration. I agree with Chris Boyd. There isn't a goalkeeper in the world that could save Kalmak's shot. No, there's not. I said at the game, that Kalmak shot at the weekend was similar to Paul Lambert's shot from away outside the box against the old Rangers that went flying past Stefan Klos. It was as good as that. It was as good as that. You show me a midfielder other than, that Paul Lambert shot for me. Callum McGregor's shot was up there with that Paul Lambert shot. That swerved to it was just fantastic. If you can't remember it, Paul Lambert gets the ball from way outside the box, takes a fucking cracker of a shot. Stefan Klos dives to his right, and the ball just swerves right into the fucking back of the net. That Lubo's rocket, yep, yeah. But Lubo was a special player. We're talking about Scottish players, but yeah, nobody could score that. Nobody could have saved that. McGregor makes Celtic tick, has done for 5 years. Of course he has. And listen, I'm a massive McGregor fan. You're not going to get. When I seen Callum McGregor come through under. When we played the first games in Paisley, remember we played 2 pre-season games 2 days in a row in Paisley years ago when Callum McGregor came through, and I said to people then, I said, watch this young guy, Callum McGregor, because he's a future Celtic captain. Because I'd seen him in the reserves at the time then, and I thought, he is one to watch. He is one to watch. And I got slated on my bus, on the bus, saying, he's rubbish, he's rubbish. He went out on loan, he came back, and he's been fantastic for Celtic. If you think about the players that Callum McGregor has had to deal with in the Celtic midfield, who he's had to try and put out the team. Callum McGregor, his play at the weekend was brilliant. There was one he had to come back from midfield. He made a tackle and got the ball back, and he started going again. Callum McGregor's view of the game is up there with Scott Brown, and people will not realise how good Callum McGregor has been for Celtic until he retires. That is a fact, and people will then go, do you know what? Look at the medals he's won. Look at the medals that him and Jamesy Forrest has won. Jamesy Forrest is going to go on to be a legend this year when we win the treble. And it's people say you can't talk about trebles already. Kalmak's from his old schemes, says Lanky. And I was the same with McGregor at the start. I thought McGregor, sometimes you see a young and I'll tell you one thing. I saw something similar in Daniel Kelly. Now, people have been saying that Daniel Kelly doesn't want to leave Celtic. It's the agent that's pushing it. I seen something similar in Daniel Kelly last season, which I came out last season, remember? I came out last season and said, Daniel Kelly, if he stays at Celtic, that is your future Celtic captain. He is a future Celtic captain. But we'll see what happens with that one. It'll be a shame if we do lose Daniel Kelly, because I think he's going to be a fantastic player. And he does, by all accounts, for people have said to me, he does want to stay at Celtic. It's the agent that's pushing it. Because if you think about it, the agent's going to get 10% of his wage. The agent's going to get 10% of his signing-on fee. So yeah, maybe you should change agent. Anyway, Sineri says Nakamura scored some brilliant goals for free kick against Man United. Brilliant. Yeah, that was a free kick though. From open play. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Morning Baz and Hoops and Girls, it says Mary Doll, 1888. She's a hoopy girl this morning. Same scheme as the East End of Glasgow. Desmond Donald says 19 subs Baz to go, still no Idah revealed. How many subs are we on? We are on 17,983 subs. We need 18,000 was the target before the end of the transfer window. Someone said to me, can you get 18,000 before we sell Adam Idah, because it went on for so long? Come on, just do it before Celtic meet the announcement tomorrow. I think it will be tomorrow that Celtic do announce Adam. The time that he gets up here today, does his medical, gets all the pictures and everything taken, and then Celtic will put out either a statement late tonight or tomorrow at some point. Anyway, I've been on for 41 minutes this morning. Jeez, biting right into my day, this, isn't it? Let's jump into some of the comments. I'll just do a little check up just to see if there's been any update. Some of the Celtic sites are getting their information wrong. They're saying that the Celtic have knocked back a fifth offer for Atlanta. There has been no fifth offer, and I've asked a Sky News reporter directly. He said there's no fifth offer. Media in Europe are getting mixed up, and then Celtic's sites are copying it and saying that there's been a fifth offer for Adam Idah, for Matt O'Reilly, but there's not. There's been a fifth offer as yet. Celtic are still holding it for the 25 million. But anyway, I'm just saying that because the first thing I look at is a Celtic site that's coming up with Celtic not back a fresh bid for Matt O'Reilly. They haven't. There hasn't been that fifth bid as it stands yet. There's another one coming up with it. Oh, Jesus God. Celtic make breakthrough in transfer imminent. Wait a minute. To Brighton deal. Implications for Matt O'Reilly. It's just a low ballers. Not a lot else kicking around this morning. We will do an afternoon update video. That'll come out around about 5 o'clock Celtic part time, and then we'll do the live this evening. And it will be right in the middle of the current Burn games. I don't care. We'll just go with it anyway. We can have a good laugh this evening. Idah is buzzing apart from having to do an interview with Jerry McCulloch on Celtic TV. Poor Jerry gets some stick. Poor Jerry gets some stick, doesn't he? He does. He gets some stick. Where did Calmac and Forrest should take Kelly under their wing? Yeah, they should. Get the subs in and likes and boys. Richard Smith says this is where Calmac and Forrest should get Kelly under their wings. I think that Angelo is in the house. Morning to you, Angelo, this morning. Yeah, I think that would be a fantastic idea, but the fact that he's not put pen to paper and he's not committing himself to the future of the club, Brendan Rodgers cannot have him in first team football because he is out of contract in just a few months' time. So you can't have a player that's not going to be in the squad, that's not going to be here playing in the squad. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. Anyway, Last couple of comments go to Dave Hislop, morning Baz, hail hail. Stuart Ramsey says hail hail, Stuart, boys and girls. Port job with stress, he's making eyes at me. Who's making eyes at you? Jesus. Lawwell will be upset at the bank balance plummeting. Robert, he won't be because we brought in 4 million for O, we brought in 3 million for Bosun Lawwell. We brought in 1 million for Haksabanovic. We brought in 300,000 for Roko Vata. And in January this year, we brought in 10 million for Lil Abada. So as it stands, we haven't spent any money in the transfer market. There you go. I'm going to leave you with that one. That little cliffhanger. Celtic girls in the house. Good morning. You're all coming in just as I'm getting ready to finish up. I'm going to stick to 45 minutes this morning. We'll do another. I might do a live this afternoon at 5 o'clock. We'll do a live at 4:30 Celtic part time. We'll do another live then. Just to see what the update has been with Celtic. I have to thank the 1,469 people that have been on the chat this morning. A bit less than last night, where it was 2,700 for the same time. Currently 437 people on the live. Gerard says, Baz, what do you think about Bernardo? I've been saying for over 6 months that he's going to be a star. Yes, he's going to be a fantastic player for us. He never loses. I'm telling you, him and Matt in the middle is my preference. Put him and Matt in the middle before Hatate, if you ask me. It is just my opinion. There is 17,985 subscribers. Adam Idah will be announced as a Celtic player in the next 48 hours. Can we get to 18,000 subscribers before Adam Idah is announced as a Celtic player? And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day to every single Celtic fan all around the world.